going on? Todd Shaw with another episode of the Sawdust Dude. Welcome back. Hey, I got a problem. I need more bench space. I bet you do too. You know what? And today we've got the perfect project that's going to solve that problem. It's cool, it's low budget with big results, and you're going to like that. Now stick around to the end of this episode because I got a little twist at the end that you're really going to like. Now let's get to work. Well, for our project today is really just to maximize or create some additional bench space in our workshop. Of course, I got my woodworking bench over to the side, but you know, when you're doing a glue up or you're painting something, painting a project, or you're staining something up and put a finish on it, you just kind of want to sit it to the side, but you got to have that right spot for it to go, a nice flat and level surface. And as you can see, I've got my Kreg mobile workstation here, and it's got paint all over it. And what I want to do is to turn my Kreg table into a work surface. As handy as this is, sometimes I just need a flat surface that's super strong. Well, you know, obviously I can just take a sheet of plywood and just stick it on the top, but I always run the risk of like bumping the side of the plywood, and then my piece goes flying off, and then I gotta sand it back down and refinish it and things like that. So I'm trying to maximize my workspace, but yet have something that's I can tuck away once my project is done. Now you can turn this table into a portable work surface, or also your table saw. So from in here I can bring my table saw in and this makes for a great work surface as well. I just need to remove my fence guard like this, put this to the side, drop my blade, and when I drop my blade, my riving knife also goes down as well. And so from in here I can now turn this into a portable workstation, which works out real well. One of the things that you want to do is make sure that, like I said, if you just stick a piece of plywood on top like this, you know, then I run the risk of bumping into that. So I need something that'll be somewhat secure. So we want to take for this project, you're going to need a sheet of plywood and some 1x material. And here I have some 1x2s. From in there. And so there's several different ways that we can go about this project, but I'm going to go back to the Kreg table because I've cut this piece of plywood to work on that particular table. So for this project we're going to need some plywood, some 1x material, 1x4. You can cut it down to about 1x2 or so, or you can use 3/4 by 3/4 strips. I'm going to show you two different ways that you can make your tabletop. But I'm going to start out with plywood. I'm going to start out with a piece of plywood. I've used 3/4 or 1/2 inch plywood for this work surface. I would not go below a 3/4 because I don't want it to flex and bow. A little bit about plywood. This is a BC grade of plywood. And the B and the C, really, plywood's graded on the surface, A through D. A being the best, D being the worst. This is a BC. This is the B side. It's pretty smooth, but it does have a few knots, so that goes from an A to a B. You know, a piece of plywood like a birch plywood, you know, that you'd build cabinets out of or something like that. It has no knots in it. One side is definitely an A grade. So you want to take your plywood like that. So this is the B side, and then you can see the difference. And this is the C side. So this is a BC plywood, 3/4 inch plywood. Now Let me just flip over the rough side. There's two ways you can do this. You can mount your cleats, and so your tabletop doesn't slide off or you accidentally bump it. You can mount your cleats like this. You kind of got to build a picture frame around your workspace, and then you can glue it and screw it, or either glue it and put finish nails in it. Go from there like that. I want to do something a little bit different with mine that I've never done before, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I want to take my project today, and I'm going to run my cleats or my boards on the outside like this, and kind of run like a picture frame, if you will. Just going to run mine like that. This is going to be a glue up, and we all know how strong wood glue is. The type of wood glue I'm using today is a tight bond wood glue. It's quick and thick. It's interior use only. No water is going to get to this, and I'm going to seal it at the end of this episode, and you'll learn more about that. But this is quick and thick. Doesn't run. It's really 2 times faster, 3 times thicker. So it's a great glue to use on projects like this. As long as I get a good coverage, and I'll shoot some finish nails with my finish nailers in the side just to make sure that it kind of stays in spot. But I'm going to glue this up. So if you're thinking about screwing in, just remember always that when you're working with plywood. When you're working from the top to the bottom, you're safe that way when you're securing another piece of wood to it. But when you're securing to the side, you always want to use wood glue because you're running inside the laminations, and it can separate like that or delaminate. Okay, so make sure you always do that. All right, so here we go. Let's get started. Let's get some work done here. I'm working on my Kreg table, and this is great for this project. And because I want my my boards flush to the top, if I go to this side, it's not going to work. So what I'm going to do, and you'll see, this will make sense in a little bit. I'm going to flip my piece over from in here like that. And I'm going to put a bench dog over here, and that'll secure that way. And I'm going to use my handy dandy Kreg table here, and I'm going to lock this down in place like that. Alright, make sure this piece is going to be flush. This one's going to be flush, and you can miter the ends if you want, but I'm just going to not be so particular about this piece. Get my brush here, get my wood glue out and ready to go. Run a nice bead down the side here. You can put it on the plywood if you want. I'm just going to do mine this way for right now. Get a good coverage right there like that. Wipe off this excess here. Now, grab my finish nailer, and this is going to have to be flush. The top is actually at the bottom now. Alright, so I want that flush on the sides, and I've got my finger here, and it's flush to the top. Just going to pop a nail in it, like that. Get this flush over here, pop a nail, we're good to go. Now this is a little low or high, and pop a nail. Make sure I get that top nice and flush. There we go. That's looking good. Kind of spin this around so you can see what we did. From in there, nailed that from in there. There are a few spots that are a little proud, a little high, but I can sand that down. Okay. Always want to keep a nice rag close by. Wipe off this glue. I'm going to finish this out a different way, so it really don't really matter there. Now you can see why that I flipped it over, and we can do it like this, but you know, see that side's high now, And so when I go to put on my next piece here, that this will work this way too. So let me spin this around so really you can kind of get a different shot and see what we're doing. Move around this way from here. I'm going to flip this over. Then that way it'll be flush from here. So I want my bottom, which is the top, I want it flush. So let me run out a bead of glue. Like this. Hey, that's bueno. Brush this out. We'll get a good coverage. You can kind of see how thick this glue is. It really doesn't run. And I like it for projects like this. It comes in real handy. So, get my end flush, push it down on the plywood, and just pop a nail there, push this down, everything's flush and flush, pop a nail in, and we're good to go. So from in here, let's talk about wood glues and working time and stuff. So what I want to happen is, you can see I had a nail kind of come through there, and that's okay. That's not a big deal. We'll show you how to fix that. So I'm just kind of clamp this up, and let me get some sacrificial strips here. Use these right here. I don't want to dig into my wood. And from here, and I was working with clamps. You know, you get that squeeze out, and that's what I'm looking for. I want to see that glue kind of come to the top like that. There we go, that looks good. Let me clamp off this other area. Move this in like this. Get some more spacing blocks here. Good. And then we'll screw clamp with our pole clamp here. Screw this tight. Get some squeeze out going on there. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. Now I want another clamp in the middle here. Wipe off this excess glue. Get that looking good. Hey, let's talk about this real quickly. Yeah, this is gonna happen. Sometimes you got your gun cockeyed, or your nail will hit a spot. Just take a pair of needle nose pliers, bend that up, and rock it back and forth. Sometimes they're pretty stubborn. As this one is being. There we go. Let's take a little wood glue to shoot in here. Pull that back. Kind of stick that back in place like that. And on this piece, that's really not going to make a big difference because I'm going to finish it out a certain way. Let me get a couple more clamps. What's the deal here? Yeah, crank that in, good squeeze out. Once again, oh yeah, that's looking good. kind of wipe off that excess a little bit there. And we're looking good. I like that. Okay. So from here, let's talk about glue ups real quickly. And I know we've covered this in another episode, but glue ups, it's real important that you have at least 20 minutes. I want this to set up. You can start working after 20 minutes goes by. You got it clamped up. It'll set up enough where you can start working on your project again. You don't want to stress the joints, so if I got to do any hard prying, that's why I wanted to get that nail out now before and rather than later, because I didn't want to put any pressure on this. As long as you don't stress the joints, you'll be safe to go again in 20 minutes. Now I would at least, if you got to do a lot of prying and pushing on it, it'll take at least 24 hours to let it dry up real well. But usually most wood glues, but especially once again, this Titebond quick and thick glue, it's just super quick, dries clear, so it's real handy on projects like this. And so Titebond quick and thick, so check that out. That's a good wood glue to have in your shop. Right this. Oh yeah. All right. Get my sacrificial strips out of the way. I want to tripping over these. Alright, so check it out. Hey, I like it. It works out real well. See how it just drops on there? We got that clearance we need. And boom. If I bump into it, it doesn't slide around. Man, I can't wait to use this. Now, I got some spots that are a little high. Do a couple things and you'll be able to see how well this works. But I can run I got a low angle block plane. I can run down like that. That leaves a nice, good, smooth finish. I really like how that feels. Kind of want to give it the fingernail test, Kind of run it along. If your fingernail bumps into a spot. There we go. See, that's good. Yeah, that kind of passes the test. That looks good. You can use that, or you can take your palm sander. I've got it close by. Other things, I want to kind of round off these edges a little bit. Alright, so I got that nice and smooth. So here's our, our kind of our portable workbench. Ready for some staining and painting and some other little projects. Perfect size, and I love the Kreg portable workstation, mobile workstation. This just really kind of takes it a step above, just with a little simple project here. So I've got this sanded down. Now you want to put some type of polyurethane or some kind of sealer over the top of it, because we'll be painting and gluing up and different little projects like that. I'm really going to just focus on using this for my glue. Here's that little hook at the end that I was trying to get you to stick around for. In my shop, I like, it's kind of a woodworking shop, hot rod, I got car parts laying around, and a lot of my cabinets came out of garages, instead of like building wood cabinets. That adds a little personality to my shop. Yeah, it's something I have to dust, but you know what? It looks cool. It makes me happy, and it just makes my shop is a cool place to hang out, and that's what I'm really looking for. Okay, we've got our piece all sanded down, and you can see how it just fits on real so easily. And kind of, I don't know, for me, it's kind of taking my Kreg work table, my mobile workstation that I so love using, but I hated getting paint on it. And some of these pockets and holes, quite frankly, just got in the way for what I wanted to use it for. And so I'm making this little plywood top with the clips around it. Now I'm ready for glue ups and painting and staining. And so I'm all excited about it. We got it sanded down real well with 220 sandpaper. And so next thing you'll need to do is put some type of polyurethane, some kind of clear coat on top of it just to seal the wood. Now, I told you to stick around for something special, and this is something I want to show you. If you look around my shop, it's got I've got license plates and cabinets out of garages, you know, that from Shell and NGK spark plugs and all kind of thing like that. So it's kind of a hot rod woodworking shop, if you will, and that it just makes a cool place to hang out. You know, you want a good environment to work in. So I'm going to do the same with this table. I'm going to make it kind of fit my personality. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take it and we're going to use Mod Podge. It's arts and craft time, if you will. You know, this stuff I've used it on tabletops just to seal it up. And what we want to do is I took drafting in high school, and I've got some old drawings. Here's one from my senior year. Don All, my drafting teacher. Hey, Mr. All. I'm gonna put this down on my table like this, and so we're gonna kind of do a collage of some old drafting papers that I have. Here's a mechanical drawing. That's Mr. Cato. He's put Clemson Tiger Paws on his when you did well. And so I want to put Mr. Cato and Mr. All on here, and from high school. And here's one from college. Got a 92. How about that? Yeah. So little mechanical drawing. So I'm just going to lay these out using the Mod Podge. Now Mod Podge, like I said, I've used it on tabletops in restaurants, and taking old magazine articles, you know, putting it on the top. Stuff holds up real well. It dries clear, and you can just keep putting coats on it. First one, let it dry about 15 minutes, and then after that, each coat, let it dry for about an hour. And you can even sand it down so you have a smooth surface. So I'm just going to just kind of make it up as you go along. But check this out. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Mod Podge and do it on our work surface that we built today. It's a real great product, holds up extremely well. I've used this on tabletops where you do like a collage kind of a thing. So, you know, my project we used today, I used some old drafting drawings I had from high school. But you just put a real thin layer down, kind of like this over your work surface. You can use a foam brush, it's just a disposable brush. Just want to make sure the bristles don't, you know, fall out on you. And a real even, thin coat. Kind of think of this as like doing wallpaper, you know, kind of like back in the days where you see guys used to brush on the glue. You can take a light amount, put it on the back of your drawing, especially on the back of this. This is an old Woodworking magazine ad. Just kind of using for a demonstration. I'm going to make sure I brush out the edges real well, because I want it to lay down. And then you simply just take it down, get it centered up. You know, you can move it around, so there's a lot of flexibility you can do with it. And I've got a laminate roller that I use, and just kind of gently, I'm going to squeeze out that excess glue like that. Get all the air bubbles and excess glue out. You see how even I brushed it on real small? That way it lays down flat. And I got a little edge there, and roll that over. And you see how easy that does? And so you let this dry up for about, I don't know, an hour or so. See, that's rolling up right there. Make sure you get that down. And let this dry up. And you can go layer over layer over layer and do a big build up. This is just kind of like the basics of how you use the Mod Podge. And on my projects, I do about 5 or 6 layers. And after about the second layer, I'll sand it with 400 or 800 grit sandpaper, get the surface real smooth. But it looks like paste, and it dries super clear and super durable. So kind of try this Mod Podge on one of your next projects, and it really adds a lot. Alright, so check it out. This is our finished project. You know, I've expanded my workspace, and so I can do my glue up projects, my painting, staining, things like that, all with using the Mod Podge. Yeah, it holds up real well. Get some extra paint or something on it, I can just wipe it down with a damp cloth. And then after a while, if I get some paint on there and it kind of dries and sticks on there, you can always take 400 or 800 grit sandpaper, sand it back down a little bit, and even apply additional coats on top of what we already have. So we got a nice, durable woodworking surface that looks awesome. I'm so in love with this, and I'll tell you one of the other things, this kind of multi-function, not only did it expand my work surface, you know, because I take it off my Kreg table, but it's kind of like a piece of art. So I've got a place over on my shop wall that I'm going to hang this up. So yeah, from here I just attached this 3/4 inch piece of wood on the wall, just kind of as a cleat, and I can take my work surface, stick it on the wall. It's nice and secure. What do you think about that? Good looking wall art, huh? Hey, I hope you had a good time, because I sure did. I love projects like this, you know, where we take some scrap wood and build something cool, a functional piece that'll help us out in our shop. And then on top of it, go one step more and added my old drawings on top. And that's the wow factor, man. We nailed it on this one. This is so cool. Yeah, I love it. Hey, if you want a materials list and a guide for this particular project, visit sawdustdude.com. Look in the shop and download section. You'll see it there. And make sure that you subscribe to our channel and tell your friends about it. And remember, it's about better skills to get better results. Thanks for joining us on the Sawdust Dude. See you soon.